Trilogy and the Grand are two communities located here in the Northwest Valley of the Phoenix area. Both of them have their pros and cons and reasons why you should or shouldn't move to one rather than the other. And today in this video, I am going to compare them, face them off head to head, and tell you why you might prefer Trilogy at Vistancia over the Grand and Surprise, or why you might prefer the Grand over Trilogy at Vistancia. Without further ado, let's get started and compare these two communities. Now, if comparing these different age-restricted communities in Arizona is something you've been doing, I have a great resource for you. It is my 55 plus community guide. It goes over all of the different 55 plus communities here in Arizona so that you know you're not missing out on any of them. There are over 43 covered in this guide. It has a one-page summary of each of the communities, a spreadsheet at the end that compares all of the numbers you could possibly want to know, from HOA fees to average home prices. Everything is in that spreadsheet, and it has a map that plots out where all of the different communities are in the valley so you know what areas you are looking in. If you would like this 55 plus community guide, shoot me a text, call, or email and I will send it your way. Let's start off by talking about Trilogy and the Grand's community centers. So both of them have two recreation clubs. Trilogy at Vistancia's are a little bit higher end, as they were opened a bit more recently. The Kiva Clubhouse was opened when the community first started back in the early 2000s, and the Kiva Clubhouse is the newer of the two clubhouses that was built in 2016. Now, the Grand also has two recreation clubhouses, as I said, the Cimarron Center, which was added in 2002, and the Adobe Clubhouse was added when the community first started in the late 90s. Trilogy at Vistancia's clubhouses do look a bit higher end from the outside. They're very nice because, of course, they are newer. The community is also a lot more green compared to the Grand, which is more desert landscape focused. When you drive through the streets of the Grand, you'll see a lot of nice landscaped gravel, cactus. It definitely goes for more of that Arizona theme compared to Trilogy at Vistancia, which is the community I really call one of the greenest in the entire valley. From its well-manicured green grass to its nice tree-lined streets, when you drive through Trilogy at Vistancia, it doesn't really feel like you are in Arizona, especially when you compare it to the Grand. So when it comes to scenery, it's just a preference between if you're wanting to be in more of a green, lush community or more of an Arizona desert kind of themed community. Back to the clubhouses though. Even though the Grand's clubhouses are a little bit older than the Kiva and the Mita clubhouse located in Trilogy, they have both been updated a lot since. They both have very nice pools and fitness centers. They've been updated a couple of times each. So even though the Grand's clubhouses are a little bit older, I would say they're on par with the luxury and amenities of the Kiva clubhouse, which is the older clubhouse in Trilogy. So just because they're a bit older doesn't necessarily mean that they don't have quite as much going on. For example, there are 22 pickleball courts in the Grand, while in Trilogy at Vistancia, there's only 4 pickleball courts and they do not have lights, while the Grand's pickleball courts do have lights. There's over 500 pickleball members in Trilogy at Vistancia, and their courts can get congested. That's definitely something I hear a lot from residents there, is I wish there were just a couple of more pickleball courts, while at the Grand, even though they're a bit older of a community, they still have 22 pickleball courts and over 1,000 active pickleball members. So if you're a big pickleball player, you're definitely going to want to choose the Grand over Trilogy at Vistancia. Both of the communities do have indoor pools, which is a nice feature that they have. The Grand has over 100 active clubs, which is a lot of clubs compared to all of these different communities. Trilogy at Vistancia has about 45 clubs, so a little bit less when it comes to club activity in Trilogy compared to the Grand, but that also has to do with how many residents are in the communities. Both of these communities only have member-led clubs, which means if you move into the community, you can start a club and make any club that you would like, so that's another plus. But the Grand has over 9,500 homes in it, while Trilogy only has 3,300 homes. So you can see Trilogy is about a third of the size of the Grand. So if you're wanting a smaller community, Trilogy is the way to go, compared to the Grand if you want a larger community where you can meet all kinds of different people you might like or dislike, you just want to meet people, the Grand could be a good option. One nice thing about Trilogy is it does have a culinary studio, which is really the nicest I've seen out of any of these communities. They do all different types of cooking classes in there, so that's just something unique that sets Trilogy apart. Trilogy's smaller clubhouse, the Mita Clubhouse, is the newer one, obviously, that opened in 2016, but it is a lot smaller than the Kiva Clubhouse, the older one. So it has an event lawn, that culinary studio, and some other classrooms in there that are fitness related. But even though it is the newer of the two clubhouses there, it's very high end. It's just a lot smaller than the Kiva Clubhouse. In the Grand, the Adobe Center is where the majority of all of their clubs meet. neat. They have the Sonoran Plaza, which has over 40 designated club rooms, not multi-purpose club rooms. They have different arts and crafts studios in there. They have a wood shop. They have card playing rooms as well. So that's a very nice area in there. If I was comparing just strictly activity in these two communities, it is hard to compare. I will say they're both very active. I hear a lot of residents from both of them enjoying their communities really a lot. So it is hard to say which one is more active over the other. I would say this, if you're looking at the Grand, there are a lot more residents there. It's a little bit safer of a choice because there's over 10,000 residents, so you're bound to meet somebody that you know. But still, in Trilogy, there's over 3,300 residents, so you should still really meet people that you like and know in Trilogy as well. It also just depends on what you're looking for in a community. If you are a very big pickleball player, I would recommend maybe the Grand over Trilogy. But if you're really looking for a smaller gated community, I might recommend Trilogy. It's a little bit more upscale when you're driving through the streets as well. That is another major difference, is the Grand is not gated while Trilogy is. Now let's talk about the big one, golf. Golf is another toss-up. These communities really do compare to each other really well, and I can see clients really choosing either one. But here in Trilogy at Vistancia, there's one course, and you will get a 20% discount off of tee times while being a resident. And in the Grand, there are 4 courses, and you get close to a 50% resident discount on tee time. So golf is one that I really do like the Grand for, because there are 4 courses. They're very high end. Trilogy's course is also very nice, though. It's Troon managed. So even though you only get 20% off of it, I do really like that course. It's one of my favorites in the Valley. You might know that if you've seen my channel before. All of the greenery in the community, it really makes for a nice scene when you play this course. There's really big, tall trees. The fairways are in excellent condition. There's a lot of ponds and streams on this course. It just feels like you're playing golf in another state, which is always nice. It also has a lot of nice mountain views. But in the Grand, their courses are really in just as good of condition, I would say. They are also high-end courses, and there's 4 of them. So during reseeding season, they'll close down 2 and leave the other 2 open, and then they'll swap them out. So you always have a course to play, and you get a much higher resident discount here in the Grand. So if golf is your main concern, the Grand might be a great option for you, but I wouldn't count Trilogy out, because I do really like their course and their golf clubhouse as well. Now, both of those communities also have membership options. If you wanted to do a full golf membership, that is an option you can look into. I have a couple of videos going over golf memberships in some of these communities. Location, location, location. Trilogy at Vistancia is located in Peoria, Arizona, while the Grand is located in Surprise, Arizona. Trilogy at Vistancia will be about 55 minutes away from the airport, so just under an hour, while the Grand is about 45 minutes away, so about 10-15 minutes closer. Neither of them are very close to the airport, but the Grand does edge out Trilogy at Vistancia just slightly. And honestly, when it comes to the location of the communities, they both are pretty close to immediate shopping and dining. In Trilogy at Vistancia, if you drive down Happy Valley Road, in about 5 to 10 minutes, you'll be next to all of the big box shopping you could need. Target, Walmart, Sprouts, all of the grocery stores as well. And in the Grand, right there on Bell Road, is everything that Surprise has to offer as well. They have over 30 restaurants and bars there. They also have all of the Targets, Trader Joe's, everything that you could need off of Bell Road. And that's about 5 minutes away, even closer than it is in Trilogy at Vistancia. So both communities have a lot of shopping and dining within 10 minutes of them. The Grand is about 10 minutes closer to the airport, if that's something that's going to be important to you. But it's really just going to come down to whether you prefer the Peoria area over the Surprise area. Both cities are growing a lot. I would say Trilogy at Vistancia is in a slightly nicer area when it comes to appreciation. They're building out in that Vistancia area like crazy right now off of Happy Valley Road, and everything in that area has a great potential to shoot up in value as they are adding in a lot of shopping and dining coming to that area. Surprise is a little bit more built out than Peoria is, but there is also a lot of building going on in Surprise just west of the 303. So both areas have a pretty good chance for property appreciation. I would say Trilogy at Vistancia just slightly more so than Surprise though. Now let's talk about home prices. In Trilogy at Vistancia, your dollar will not go as far as it does in the Grand. Part of that comes down to there being a third of the homes compared to the Grand. There's a lot less supply in Trilogy at Vistancia than there is in the Grand. Homes in Trilogy were constructed from 2004 up until 2022, and in the Grand they were constructed from 96 to 2005. If you were looking for just an entry-level home in Trilogy at Vistancia, Vastancia, you would be looking at a 1,400 square foot home that's a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom, and that's selling for the mid 400,000s, about $440,000. If you were looking for an entry-level home in the Grand, you'd be looking at about 1,100 square foot home that's also a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom, just a couple hundred square feet smaller, and that sells for the low 300,000s, about $310,000 to $320,000. So you can see the entry-level home to both of these communities is $100,000 in difference in home prices. So that's definitely something to keep an eye on. The median sales price in Trilogy at Vastancia is $650,000, and that would be 2,100 square feet, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms. And the median sales price in the Grand is $440,000, and that's 1,900 square feet, 3 bedroom, 2 bathroom. Now, I went through all of the previous home sales in the last 3 months, and I compared each of them in both of the communities. And I would say if you were to pick up a home from the Grand and move it into Trilogy at Vastancia, a 1,400 square foot home, an 1,800 square foot home, whatever the case may be, they had similar updates in both of the communities. It's going to cost you about $80,000 more in Trilogy at Vastancia than it would in the Grand. And that's a very similar home when it comes to upgrades, lots, size of the home, everything. It's going to cost about $80,000 more, maybe even a little bit more in Trilogy at Vastancia than it does in the Grand. And why is that? Well, Trilogy is a Shea-built community, so it's very sought after. A lot of out-of-state folks will only buy in these Trilogy communities because they are so sought after. It's a very high-end community. It's gated. So even though there might not be quite as much activity in Trilogy at Vastancia, people really do love these Shea-built homes. Now, if you're looking for a golf course lot, there are going to be a lot more available in the Grand than there will be in Trilogy at Vastancia. There's only been 5 golf course lot homes to sell in Trilogy at Vastancia in the last couple of months, compared to 17 homes that have sold in the Grand that have been on the golf course. The price ranges on those in the Grand, they range from $540,000 to $1.1 million, and then in Trilogy at Vastancia, $600,000 to $1.1 million. So their golf course lots can sell for roughly the same, and that's because in the Grand, they don't really put any homes smaller than 1,800 square feet on the golf course. Both of these communities have some great large estates, well over 3,500 square feet though, and in that price range, I really see homes sell for roughly the same. So if you're looking for a large 3,300 square foot home on the golf course, in Trilogy at Vastancia and the Grand, it's going to sell for roughly the same price. You really only see that $80,000 jump in Trilogy at Vastancia, and that median sales price range from about $400,000 to $600,000. So if you're looking for larger homes, it's really just going to come down to which community you prefer. So that's everything that I think is important when comparing these two different communities to each other. If you're looking for pickleball, the Grand has over 22 pickleball courts. If you're looking for a very lush, high-end community that doesn't feel like Arizona, that's gated, Trilogy at Vastancia is a great place for you. Obviously, the sizes of these two communities can play a factor in which one you decide on as well, but maybe you're not interested in either of these communities and you want to compare the other 40 communities that we have here in Arizona. Reach out for my 55 plus community guide where I go over all of the communities so you make sure you're not missing out on any of them. Shoot me a text, call, or email and I can send it your way. My name is Caden Leali. I'm a licensed real estate agent here in the greater Phoenix area. I'd love to help you make your move into one of these communities. I specialize in golf course and 55 plus communities, so I know them pretty well and I'd love to help you make that move. Reach out for my free guide and I will see you in the next video.